Kurt, welcome to Core.
Hey, Eddie, how's it going?
Doing well. Thanks for coming on. We were talking before the show started that the last CD was a surprise.
Yes.
Was it hard keeping the secret?
Actually, not really. The whole thing was just kind of probably the easiest process I've ever been involved in. You know, I had the songs and I wanted to do something different. And some guys I wanted to work with, so kind of reached out to them and said I had this idea of this band. Would you guys want to do it? The only thing is we can't talk about it for like 4 or 5 months, and if anyone says it's us, you have to deny it. So it was kind of a gag order, and they were all about it. So yeah, we went in and recorded it at Rock Garden Studio, and of course Marc Golde, same thing with him, like can't tell anyone about it, anything. Finished it up, leaked a few tracks to John Jordan at APL, told him about it, can't tell anyone about it. He's like, oh, I love this, and played along and played some songs that like, we got this submission, we don't know who they are, but the song's good, so we're gonna play it, you know, and then finally when it was, I put it up on iTunes and all that stuff, and the day that it came out is when we decided to tell everyone, like, here's the band, this is the name, our album's done, and here it is, you can stream it right now. So
I loved it because there wasn't any like weeks of built-up secrecy.
None of that. I've done that before, and it's fun, but it's like this was way more fun, I thought.
How did you choose the people that were going to be on the album?
Well, Luke Heckel, he and I have been talking I've known him for probably, I was trying to think of this last night, probably 20 plus years. He used to work at Henry's Music in Green Bay, and I've known him for a long time, and we've always just kind of talked like, one day we're gonna do something, you know, and every year we'd talk again, like, one day we're gonna do something, and then we'd start doing it like twice a year. We'd be like, one day we're gonna do something, and finally I'm like, that's enough of this, you know, let's actually do something. So I contacted him, and he was in a space in his life where he was able to commit to, you know, doing the project, and so that was Luke, the drummer. Woody Larson, I met, and he does work at Rock Garden Studio with Mark, so I met him through that. And I'll be honest, I had no idea that he was that good of a guitar player. I was kind of talking with Mark a little bit about it, and it's like, God, we need a guitar player, you know, and I had a sort of a short list of people. And the album had kind of when I first was going to do it, had more of a country feel to it. And he suggested, he's like, well, you know, country's kind of Woody's wheelhouse. And I was like, oh, Woody Larson, yeah. So sent him the songs, and it was the perfect fit there as well. And like I said, I've known him for a while, so it was, you know, it's fun to play with people that you like. And Chris Hanaway, the bass player, I've been playing with Chris for forever. I don't even remember when I started playing with him. I couldn't tell you. It just sort of happened. But it was a long time ago. I used to be in my first band, Commonplace. He used to play that. And so for that, just I didn't want to look for different bass players. Chris is the guy. And then Mark, obviously, he's not like an official band member, but he did all the keys and obviously the recording and everything on the album.
Can you tell me what the concept was behind the band name?
Yeah, actually, that this was at Mile of Music, not this summer, but the summer before, so 2 years ago, and I told this story at the release show the other night, but I had some shows in the early chunk of the day, and then I had some shows that were in the later part of the day, and I wound up at Dr. Jekyll's in the beer garden, and a little too much to drink, you know, with a lot of time to kill. Ended up kind of passing out and falling asleep there in the beer garden on one of their little wood benches, but woke up and some of my friends were there, and he was with his girlfriend at the time was there, and she was talking about how she wasn't from around here. She's like, I was raised in a really poor town, but you know, my parents, they brought me up to be proper. And I was like, oh, that's cool. That makes you poor town proper. And then that's saying or whatever it is just kind of just stuck in my brain, and I just kept thinking about it. It's like, yeah, it's such a cool band name, you know. And I thought about, you know, maybe making an album title or something like that, but excuse me. But I decided, you know, all the guys I play with, they're all in a bunch of bands, and so I figured, you know, why not? I as a songwriter or whatever don't have the luxury of being in other bands, so I thought it would be kind of fun to do a side project kind of thing, and so I decided, yeah, go with the Poor Town Proper, and had the guys that I wanted to use, and it all came about that way, sort of.
Did, as far as the songwriting for the album, did you do most of the songwriting, or did everybody chip in ideas?
Like lyrics and songs, were all done, yeah.
Okay, so you had that all written already?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was all. And then a lot of those songs were things that I wouldn't necessarily put out as like a Kurt Gunn thing. So that's why they're kind of like sitting in this sort of area of what would I do with these. So that made it easier too. And then I had to like maybe write 2 or 3 more to, you know, get an album out of it, but that came pretty easy, so.
As far as the ideas that people were contributing to kind of either parts for the songs, was there anything that you heard that you're like, no way?
No, I don't do that. Well, I mean, I shouldn't say I don't do it. Sometimes I do if it's really, really out there. But what I typically do is I'll write the songs myself with just an acoustic guitar. I just record my voice memo, and then I'll send them to the players and be like, here's the songs. I'm not a drummer, I'm not a bass player, so, you know, you guys come up with a part, and then, like, for that CD, we hadn't even rehearsed any of the songs or anything. We just, first time I played with Woody was in the studio that day when we were tracking the tunes, you know, so, and I've done that before, and it's fun because you'll write this music on an acoustic guitar, and I'm not real good at hearing things. Like, I don't have that producer like ear, you know, and so to me they're just acoustic songs, and then we start playing them in the studio, and it's always really fun to see what they turn into. And yeah, they've come out, like some of the songs, like The One Good Thing I Do is just a really simple acoustic guitar song. And then, you know, Luke's like, oh, we're brainstorming basically in the studio on like how do we want this to go, and he starts, you know, he's trying a few different things. He starts playing this really Caribbean beat, and then Woody, you know, grabs a open G guitar and starts doing the slide over it, and it turned into this, we just called it the Island Song when we're in the studio. And we're like, this is ridiculous, but it was, you know, it's, for a couple of us, it's our favorite song on the records.
You mentioned earlier your first band was called Commonplace.
Yeah.
Was that an Appleton-based band, or were you living somewhere else?
I'm from Green Bay. Well, I live in De Pere now, but was born and raised in Green Bay. And we were in high school. We started that band, me and my buddy Brad Bordini. I think each of us knew like about 3 or 4 chords. He took a month's worth of lessons and taught me what he knew, and then we went from there, you know. And yeah, we just started playing basically anywhere. We used to show up at this open mic there's a bar in Green Bay called the Razzmatazz, and there was a guy that played there. His name was Jim Campbell. Everyone called him Soup, obviously because of his last name. But, so Soup would we were, you know, just 21, and Soup was in his 30s, but he had a weekly open mic, not even open mic, it was just, he was there every Monday or whatever, playing songs, and he was amazing. He could play Simon Garfunkel, he still can, he still plays. He played the boxer better than Paul Simon, you know, just amazing. And we have a bunch of beers and we're like, oh, Soup, play the boxer. He played like 3 times for us a night. But anyway, he let us. He found out that we played, and we had like a handful of songs that obviously were our own songs, and then a couple like covers I don't even remember. And so we asked, can we come and play some songs, And he's like, yeah, come on. What musician doesn't like taking a break,
Right.
So he would let us come up, and then we started showing up every Monday. And the band kind of evolved. We got a drummer, and so on. And then we'd show up and we'd be like, hey, Soup, our his drums are in the car, think we can set them up tonight and maybe do a little set, And so he's like, yeah, bring set them up, Then we come in, set up the drums, play a half hour, and then it turned into an hour. Then we started getting kind of a decent little following that would come on Monday nights to watch our set. And so the owner of the Razzmatazz is like, hey, you guys want your own night? We're like, yeah. We had arrived. This was like the biggest thing in our lives at that time. We got a gig.
What style of music were you guys playing at that time?
I would call it acoustic rock. We played like a handful of our own songs. I'm trying to think of what covers we even played. I mean, the obvious ones like Blister in the Sun and what's that one song? It was good living with you. Is it Better Than Ezra? I think it is. Yeah. We played that one, and Counting Crows. We were big Counting Crows fans. I still am. We loved them. And Dave Matthews was huge at the time, so we played all that stuff, and people loved it. Yeah, it was a good time.
How long did you guys play together?
Quite a while. We had a little break there. Our drummer quit. He was quite a bit younger than us. I went to high school with his brother. Well, we both went to high school with his brother, and his brother was in our grade, I should say. And we're like at his house one day, and we saw his, I was like, Matt, whose drums are those? Oh, that's my brother Nate's. Like, is he any good? We didn't have a drummer. Didn't matter, if you were good or not, really, I guess. He's like, yeah, he's pretty good, So he started playing with us, and we still keep in touch to this day. But we played. I'd be guessing, but like maybe 7, 8 years, doing that. Playing pretty steady, and nothing like huge, but steady for us. We played around town.
So what was the catalyst that made you move to a solo project?
Well, the Commonplace thing. So we had the younger drummer who was still in high school, and he wanted us to play this school dance type event, and Brad and I were like, and we can't, Nate, we can't do that. We can't go back there, and we should be successful by now or whatever, we can't do it. And so he got mad, and then we had a show booked at another venue other than the Razzmatazz, and it was like our first show at like outside of the Razzmatazz, and he didn't show up to it because we didn't play the height. So it was like, ugh. And then I'd been getting the itch to do some solo stuff. I'd only ever played with Brad, and it was great. I still do some shows with him here and there to this day, but I was just getting that itch to do my own thing. I've just always, I like to do different things. I can't do the same thing over and over and over, and I just it's not fun. So I was in that spot and started doing the solo stuff, and kind of went from there. And then Commonplace broke up. That's a long story, but
Are you still friends with the guys from the
That's the most important thing is I'm still friends with all the guys. Yeah. So, yeah.
band? And then was that around the time you put out your debut solo CD?
The EP.
This and that?
Yeah, This and That EP, 2008. So that was right at the end of it, and that's why it's called This and That EP, is because we had, there was kind of, so Brad and I had kind of, I guess you would call a falling out, and then he was the guitar player, and so we went through a series of guitar players, and we had 3 songs. We were going to make a CD. We had 3 songs done, and then our guitar player quit, and then was like, that's it. I'm done with this. I'm not done. Commonplace is over. So I had these 3 songs sitting around, and then I had a couple solo songs, and I did these with Mark when he was on Walter, the old studio, and so I had the 3 new songs that I used like some different people with. Jason Lipsky was one of the Commonplace guitar players, and Paul Hanna plays on it, and Neil Gallagher plays drums on it. Eric Johnson plays drums on it. All just a bunch of different people. So it was the old Commonplace, and it was the new, kind of Kirk Gunn thing. So I called it. We just sandwiched it together. Call it This and That EP. Put it out. Done. I got a CD out. So that was the first one in 2008. And then I just I didn't record it like anything or do much, I guess.
Were you still playing shows during that?
Yeah, here and there. It was kind of like a weird part in my life where I just didn't. I kind of reached a point where it wasn't fun. It didn't seem like anything was working out ever. I hate booking shows. It's just so much like if there's all these things that you hate, then why would you do it? When I could just sit at home and play guitar. I don't have to go out and do it. So and it was kind of in a down part of my life, I guess. And I quit, basically quit. I sold all my stuff and I kept a guitar and quit playing for over a year. And then, my wife was getting my case, like, why don't you go do something? I was walking around the house in the bathrobe for a year. And there was this little wine bar in De Pere that we started playing some shows there, here and there. Just, nothing fancy, just go in there and play for an hour or so, just started doing that. And then I always had songs. I mean, some of the ones I look back at them, they're pretty freaking dark, like that I wouldn't release or anything, but got a few more songs under my belt. Once I started playing again, it comes back. And then decided it was time. I should do another CD. So we did a EP, and used a bunch of like Eric Johnson, the old Commonplace drummer. Chris Hanaway's on that, which I've been playing with him. He was in Commonplace for a little while as well, but we did that at Paul Hanna's house. You know Paul, right? He's pretty big in Green Bay in a band called Annex.
Oh yeah.
And a hell of a recording guy. He does all that stuff in his house, and so yeah, he kind of got me back on my feet, and I did 2 records with him. I did that EP, and then we did I got this strange little concept album about Stephen King book.
No.
Yeah. You a Stephen King fan?
Yeah.
Okay. So Salem's Lot is my favorite, is the first horror movie I remember watching as a kid was Salem's Lot. And I should not have been watching it because I know it was in Wirtz Avenue when I watched it. So I had to have been in 1st or 2nd grade,
Pretty young.
Pretty young for that. Yeah, scared the heck out of me. But from that day forth, I mean, that was my favorite movie of all time. I don't know what it was about the movie. Just, you know, then I started reading books, adult books, you know. I started reading Stephen King like when I was like 11, 12, 13. Read all the stuff, you know. Love Salem's Lot. Read it every year, actually. Like kind of fanboyish, but like, so the book starts and you're reading it, and the first date that's mentioned in the book is September 5th. So every year on September 5th, I take the book down and I read it. For whatever reason, this would have been in the summer before getting to that point. So I had the book I have like a writing area out in my garage where it kind of like your basement here, you know, your man cave, you know. It's in my garage, so it's a seasonal man cave. But I had this book on my desk because I was going to read it in September. And I was writing a song, and what I'll do with, I'll have a melody or something like that. I'll be right. I'll have the guitar parts down or whatever. I'll just look around the room, start making stuff up, you know, like just thinking about whatnot, you know, just trying to because I got the voice memo on, and I'm just trying to find a melody. And sometimes you luck out, you get a good line out of it. You know, your first reaction, what you want to say, is usually the best. And I was looking at this Salem's Lot book, and subconsciously, whatever, was thinking about the character Susan, started singing the lyrics about her and that one scene in the book where he meets her in the park. And so it turned out to be a really good song. And I'm like, oh man, what do I do with this? You know, it's really weird. Yeah, so just writing the nonsense lyrics about the character in the book, Susan, which became the girl. So yeah, the album is mapped. So I mapped out when I decided, and I was just originally going to just do this for myself. It was just going to be for my own personal thing, challenge or whatever. Just going to be a playlist I had in SoundCloud that it was just there. But so I wrote out 9 titles of scenes that I liked. So the album's called Scenes from a Small Town in Maine. Salem's Lot is a town in Maine in the book, fictional town. And so I wrote out the titles, went to work on the songs. I had the songs probably kind of flew out of me in like 2 weeks. I had everything done. And then, so I had it, was done, you know. It was like, so I sent it to some friends. I'm like, hey, what do you think of this? Friends that have not seen the movie or read the book. And they're like, yeah, it's kind of weird, but really cool, you know, like cool. And then I told them what it's about, and they're like, you gotta release this. You gotta do it, you know. And I brought the idea to Paul. I'm like, hey, this is what I have. I know it's super weird, but what do you think, you know? He's like, absolutely. Let's do this. And he did an awesome job when you listen to the CD with all the production that he put in. Not like huge production, but just subtle, like little things. There's no gaps in the songs. It plays straight through, like 27 minutes straight through. It was intended to be listened to straight through, and yeah, it was a fun one.
So around this time, were you playing shows? Because you were still in the Green Bay area.
Yeah. So a buddy of mine, his name is Ricky Scholes. We kind of started doing these acoustic duos, and we were hammering those out, like playing tons. If there was a patio, we were there playing it. You know, for a few years we were doing that, and that kind of turned into a band. You know, we had a drummer and all that nonsense, and not really having like band names or anything, just kind of playing for fun and here and there. And then that was trying to think. 2015 is when I put out the Underneath EP. I believe. I could be wrong.
It's like October of 2014.
2014. Okay, that makes sense. And then we put out the vampire one in 16.
September 15.
September 15? Okay.
Scenes from a Small Town in Maine.
All right, yes. Good.
Well, then he put out a Ballad of the Unknown Picker and Singer the year after. So you've been
that's when I got the recording bug. It's like getting tattoos. Once you get one, all you want to do is get more. And that's kind of like how recording was for me. Once I started making those, it was really fun, you know. I'd been after the Scenes from a Small Town in Maine. Out of nowhere, out of the blue, one day I get a message on Facebook from this guy I didn't know, and he's like, "Hey, we're trying to get a hold of you. Is this a good way to get a hold of you? You've been nominated for singer-songwriter award for Whammies." And I was like, "Oh, crazy, you know." Yeah, this is me, you know. And they're like, "Okay, well, you're nominated." I was like, "Okay," I didn't know much about it or anything about it. So I'm like, I don't know. I guess I should go. It's at Appleton at the PAC, you know. I guess I'll go check it out. And ran into Marc Golde down there, and I hadn't seen Marc in a few years since '08. We did the EP at his old place, and I'd always followed him on Facebook or what he was up to, you know, to get the new studio, the new board, and ran into him there, and I was like, I should go, you know. I've got another batch of tunes here. I was thinking about doing something. I should, you know, I miss Marc. I'm gonna go see Marc and check out this new vintage board, and so I called, you know, I messaged him or I emailed him like a couple weeks later. I'm like, "Hey, you know, it was nice running into you. I'd like to book some studio time, in the studio." And he's like, "Oh, awesome, yeah, come on down." So set that up, and I had a bunch of acoustic songs, and then 3 band songs. I just started kind of playing with. I met Ric Armstrong, he plays in just tons of bands. He's in his main band that he's in is More Than Merry. I think you know those guys, right? Yeah. And the Benchwarmers and all these other bands. And he's just a great guy, and we developed a friendship, you know. Messaged me out of the blue one day when I hadn't known him, you know, saying that how much he liked my songs and this and that. And yeah, so he played 3, there's 3 band songs on there basically on that album, and then the rest are acoustic, and then I did those live. It was just some sort of magic mojo going on in that studio, I think, because it was the first time I was in there. It was all kind of new, and it turned out to be what I think is a really good album. A lot of people say that could be their favorite album that I put out, and that was when I think things started to take off again, and then I started doing more shows. I was pretty much done playing in Green Bay. I was pretty much exclusively playing in Appleton and the Valley, and getting to know people like Kent and John Jordan and Len Nelson and Mark and all these. There's this whole culture that exists 30 miles from where I live, and it's just, I was like, wow, you know, and meeting all these musicians that like Christopher Gold and Sam Luna and RJ Nordland and all these people that I've become, you know, good friends with. And it's just, yeah, it was kind of like a switch being turned on, and I've been busy ever since. Basically, I've been busy ever since I stepped in the Rock Garden studio that day.
Oh, what did you think of the new studio versus the Walter Avenue
Oh.
studio? Because the Walter Avenue
Yeah.
studio was kind of weird. Could see it from the outside. It looked so small.
Well, it
but
was
then
a
you go
salon or
inside.
something. Yeah, it was. Well, what Mark says that he's got a broom closet in the new studio that's the size of that one, you know. But
He's really done a nice job.
oh yeah, there's just it's such a cool space, and I love playing shows there too. You know, we did a Rock Garden Live there for the Ballad CD release was a Rock Garden Live performance, and then I've done 3 album release shows there. And so for me to do the album release show there, I'm paying Mark for his services for the space and the sound and everything like that. And I could do it somewhere else, but I choose to do it there. It's where that record was made. The sound is amazing. People are coming there for that. You know, there's no outside distractions. It's just, if you want to do an album release show, to me it's a no-brainer to just put yourself in that environment.
Can you tell me how the release show went for the last album? That at Rock Garden,
The
one that just happened.
Yeah, that was it went great. So we recorded the songs together, and I was not even present for when Woody did like his guitar solos and stuff like that, and the keys were added. I don't really get involved in all that stuff.
I went there and did all that for you.
you could tell me. I don't know. Mark tells, well, one time he sent me a Facebook message. He's like, of Danny Jerebick playing Squeezebox. He's like, oh, by the way, Danny's putting Squeezebox on one of your songs today. This is Danny. Danny, this is Kurt. Like, oh, awesome, you know. So yeah. But so we hadn't played really any of the songs completely all the way through together, minus the backing tracks, you know, the drums, bass, and Woody obviously played guitar with me, but not like his solos and whatnots. And so we had this release show coming up. We got together for 2 hours. Mark let us sneak in the studio the day before the release show because he was going to play keys with us. And we ran through the set list twice. It was perfect, and I guess we all had listened to the CD enough that we knew, you know, our parts. I've been sneaking a few of the songs into some solo acoustic sets and stuff like that. Like when no one's like paying attention, I'm playing something where like people are just eating and stuff. They're not going to be like, hey, what's that? You know, is that something new? They're not going to say that. And so I just play the songs and just to practice them, you know. And so yeah, the release show went great. It's as close as I've come to a flawless performance as a band and quite a long time. I mean, it was great.
How's the energy playing with a bigger band compared to doing the solo shows? Do you enjoy it, or is it more stress?
They're all different. Sometimes solos are very stressful. Say I play in a solo, and I play in a duo, and I play in a full band, 2 full bands.
Gunn and the Girl.
Gunn and the Girl, yeah. We're going to be changing that to Girl and the Gun here real soon. And we're working on our CD right now, too. So I get a little bit of everything, and I don't like to do any one of the things exclusively. So if I have the feeling that I need to do a solo show, I'll try to do one of those. I love doing listening room shows, you know, where it's like storyteller type stuff. I like doing that. Gun and the Girl is fun. Where's a duo? We have fun. We do. We just did a house show in Chicago, and you know, just fun experience doing that stuff with her. We've been playing together for years, and then once in a while, it's nice to plug in with the boys and, go to town. But doing that all the time too is hard for me. Like, I guess what it all boils down to is if someone booked all my shows for me and told me where to go, I guess I would enjoy everything a lot more. I just can't stand that side of things. It's just, it's so hard to book bands around here unless,
you have to go and make the connection.
Yeah, and I know guys, but it's like, it's really hard. And for me anyways, to book shows, I don't know what my problem is, but I have a hard time with it.
Have you had a show that you just wanted to walk out?
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
But you didn't.
I didn't. No. No, I've never walked out of a show ever, and I've never called in sick to a like, there's no way I can do this. I'm just gonna tell them my wife's sick, or I've never done that. I maybe have mailed a show in once or twice, but yeah, there was one show I was considering quitting for a while again. This was like 2 years ago or so. I won't say where it was, but I was in a situation where things weren't going great again. It was coming on winter and not getting a lot of shows booked and just struggling on the business side of things, I guess. And so I was frustrated and already like not in the mood. And a buddy of mine was booking some shows at this one place, and he's like, "Hey, you want to play at blank on this night?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure. Why not keep busy? That'll be good." And it turned out being like the absolute worst thing I should have done. And yeah, it was terrible.
Let's try to change this.
I went like I was in that. I took a break, so it was a solo show. So immediately it's a lonely show, unless it's a listening room where people are like engaged in it. If you're just doing a solo show, all for the people that can do it. I can do it if I have to, but they're lonely. So and if you don't know anyone there, it's just you, and then you take a break, and it's like, what do you do? So like I went and sat in my car at this one show, and called a friend, and I'm like, I called Amanda actually, because I had asked her to come down to play with me because you got to do this show with me. I shouldn't have got myself into this, and she's like, I can't, I called her on break, and I'm like, man, this is the worst thing ever. I can't do this anymore. And she's like, I should have come. I'm sorry. Just get in there, finish it up, and be on with your life. But yeah, so basically playing a song, and there's just people like eating mashed potatoes like right here. It's like, what am I? You have those moments where you're like, what am I doing? What am I doing this for? Why am I doing this? And it's like so easy to just be like, no.
Then the next show could be
But then the next show is great. Yeah, it's like I tell people, it's like if you've ever golfed, and you hit that one super long drive, like way down the middle of the fairway, like 300 yards, or 275 yards, and they got you, you're just going to be chasing that one golf shot. So once you get a amazing show or two under your belt, then they exist, and they're out there, and so you chase those until you find them again.
Can you tell me a little bit about the Ballad of the Unknown Picker and Singer?
Yeah, well, it's all about that. What I just talked about. Yeah, it's all about that. So that was, it's basically autobiography of trying to play original music, and Green Bay, it didn't go over the best, more of a cover-driven town, which I have no problems with cover bands whatsoever. I'm friends with guys that are in great cover bands, and I consider I guess, that almost harder than what I do, because they have to learn. I mean, note for note, people want to hear that stuff note for note. But what I was doing wasn't working in that town. And so it's all about the struggles, and then just trying to make a name for yourself, and it not happening, and basically sucking and playing in terrible rooms. And it's the Ballad of the Unknown Picker and Singer.
You're from the Green Bay area. How is the Green Bay scene different from the Appleton scene? Or is there not much of a difference?
I've been out of the Green Bay scene for a while, so I don't know that I could even answer that question. When I used to play there a lot, I wasn't playing in Appleton, so I couldn't tell you that. I know that I didn't fit in too good in Green Bay, and fit in pretty good in Appleton. And so, but I know guys and girls that that do well in Green Bay. It just, me personally, it didn't work out for me. But
So Appleton is your adoptive.
I've got a group of people that, and they're all friends. That's an amazing thing. It's like, I met all these people through playing shows, and I've met so many people from coming down here and doing stuff. And they can usually count on those people to be out, at least some of them, at least one or two people that are going to be at a show, which is, I couldn't guarantee that in Green Bay.
Yeah, we talked before the show started. I mentioned how I like it when you go on Facebook Live.
Yeah.
And put on these shows more or less, taking requests. Is that something that helps kind of make it more fun to practice? Or are you
it's
bouncing new ideas off people?
For me, it's maybe I'll test out a new song to see what kind of reaction it would get. I've done that a few times. Usually those are the ones my kids sabotage, so I'll try them. I'll try them in the middle of the day. I've wound up in the middle of a squirt gun fight, and my little guy Orson, he'll usually find me and start banging out a piano or something like that. But late at night after they all go to bed and stuff, if it's a slow time of year, I'll do those. And I think that's the ones you're talking about, the Total Request Lives. Yeah. And more so, that's when I don't have anything going on, and I'm just want to stay focused on performing, I guess. Even if they're, if you've ever done a Facebook Live, it's pretty, I think I'm more nervous doing those than shows, because I can't see the people, but then you see the number, of how many people are watching. You're like, oh boy.
So you can see when you lose one, or
you can see people walking out the door of your phone. And so it's nerve-wracking, but it's also fun. I've had some good ones where people are shouting out requests on there, and people give you some crap, and it's fun. I like to do them now and again, and usually in the winter. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite venue in Appleton?
Just
one that you really like to play at. It's always a good time.
And I would say that my favorite venue would be Gibson Music Hall. Like, if I had to pick, absolutely, there's lots of good venues, but for me personally, that's the one I guess I have the most. And I've been playing there since they opened. Their first message they sent out, hey, we're opening and we're looking for some bands. I messaged Kurt, and then we still go in there and see those guys, and Aaron's runs sound there. He's one of my favorite sound guys, and he's a good guy too, and it's just a fun experience. Jake behind the bar, it's like kind of like a Cheers, but as an awesome music venue, So I love playing there.
What would be your dream show for anybody in the world you could play a show with at the Gibson Music Hall?
Well, that's a tough one. That is a tough one. Alive or?
Has to be alive.
Has to be alive? Okay. I'd have to say there's a few. I still love Counting Crows. I just love those guys. And Dawes is another band that I really love, and Death Cab for Cutie's another band that I really love. I mean, you could say the obvious, like Bob Dylan, John Prine, stuff like that, but yeah, I'd have to go with it's a tough question.
Probably changes depending on
your
thought too.
Yeah, I don't know. Any of those, I guess I'd be happy with.
I could see the Counting Crows.
Yeah, I could see them doing that. Yeah,
it would be a great place for them to play.
I'll tell you who I wouldn't want to, and it happened to me. So I was playing at a wine bar in De Pere one night, and Celebrate De Pere. It's like their Memorial Day is their holiday that they get. Each town gets their own holiday that they get to have the big thing for. Well, Memorial Day was theirs, and or is it which one's in May?
Memorial Day.
Memorial Day.
Yeah.
I always get that in Labor Day.
I do too.
So Memorial Day, and the headlining band was Survivor. Eye of the Tiger, right, guys? And these guys show up at the club, and it's not none of them. I don't even think any of them are the original Survivor guys. But
could you tell they were Survivor right when they showed up?
Well, they let us know they were Survivor, and then they came up and asked if they could play a song, and so we're like, well, sure, you're Survivor. Said, but you got to play Eye of the Tiger. And then they played like the guitar player was like, he's like, oh, I have my own material, we're gonna play that. I'm like, well, whatever, we finally talked him into playing Eye of the Tiger. But yeah, they treated us like roadies. Like, I remember my guitar was up too high, like my guitar strap. He's like, how can you even play like this? Lower this. So I had to lower it. I have a picture of it, like him, just disgusted with how high my guitar was. And so they played Eye of the Tiger. I think, don't quote me on this, but the lead singer, that particular lead singer is passed on now. I'm not up on my Survivor, but I'm pretty sure he has. But it was funny. It was right around the times where you could take those real archaic videos with your flip phones that were all pixelated and stuff, and so everyone was taking videos of this guy playing Eye of the Tiger, and he's really getting into it, but he's doing this, and I know there's a YouTube video out there somewhere of the night. Yeah, it was at what's the name of the place? I can't think of the name of it. It's burnt down now, but yeah.
Should be able to track that down.
Yeah, Montague's. That was the name of it. Montague's Wine Bar.
So you would never want to play with Survivor again?
Jeremy Brown owned it. You know him? He was
No.
a drummer for Vacuum Scam. You ever heard of them?
Mm-mm.
Oh, they're a big punk band in Green Bay. See, they had a music scene. I'm sure they still do. Original music scene. Just not of my genre. So my genre hurt me there. But there was a huge punk scene that was in Green Bay, and I think still is.
In the 90s, it was Boris the Sprinkler, and
yeah,
I had a bunch of them.
Tom Smith, he's the guy and he books a lot of those kind of bands, and I don't even know the venues, but yeah, they still have quite a good music scene, just not for the singer-songwriters, kind of guys. But
I'm glad there's not like a pay-to-play culture that's
Yeah.
really big around here. I know
right,
some cities are still, hey, you can open these shows, but you have to
yeah,
sell so many tickets or whatever.
yeah. I used to run into some of that back in the day. I did some stuff in Chicago, and that's how it was down there. You had to sell 17 tickets, or they were gonna shoot your mom or something. Like sign a guarantee, and then beg like 17 people to come so your mom could live.
We talked a little bit off the air about, the question about singles, EPs, full albums.
Mm-hmm.
Let me know that you do still enjoy the full albums.
I do, yeah.
Do you think that you'll ever move towards singles?
I guess I have. I just put out a single a couple days ago. Ann at the Avenue contacted me and asked if I had any Christmas songs. She's like, you ever record any Christmas songs, cover or whatnot? We're putting our holiday collection together, We thought we'd ask if you had anything. And I was like, I don't have any Christmas songs. And I was just talking to my oldest daughter the other day, I forget what we were talking about. Christmas songs, I think. That would be the obvious conversation. And I was like, you know what? I should write a Christmas song. How hard can it be, she's like, yeah, Dad, do it, And then I forgot about it. And then Ann messaged me, and I was like, okay, yeah, I should do a Christmas song, yeah. I'll see what I can come up with, and if I finish it, I'll send you one or whatever. But so I went into the kitchen and grabbed my kitchen guitar, and just started kind of plucking away. And I think I had half the song done in about 20 minutes. And then had to make lunch and do some stuff with Orson, and then came back. So I had the whole thing done in about, I'd say, 2 hours time. Messaged it to Ann, say, would this work? And she's like, oh yeah, absolutely, this is great. So then I called Mark, said, hey, can I sneak in Sunday? I said, literally like 10 minutes, and just play this song, record it. And that's about what it was, 10 minutes. I think I played it twice, and then we kept that. And now they played it on the Avenue last night. And it's out on Spotify and iTunes. So if you're in the Christmas spirit, I got my very first Christmas single is out. What a world we live in, that someone can message me on Monday. I can write a song on Monday and have it out on the internet by like 4 or 5 days later. It's just...
You're a music releasing machine.
It's just crazy to me that's we're at the age where you just couldn't do that,
I know, it's crazy.
You had to spend a year just trying to figure out how to work a 4-track tape recorder.
It would still take me a year to figure that out.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't do it. I had 2 boom boxes, so I would, and these are the boom boxes that you could dub yourself playing music. So I would play the guitar, and then I would put that tape in this boombox and a new tape in this one, and then I'd play this boombox loud and record this, and then I'd play like my little lead part. So then I'd have 2 tracks, and then I'd do it again. So I was doing 4-track recording with 2 tape decks, basically.
You still have any of that stuff?
Yeah, I have all of it.
That'd be interesting to hear.
Yeah. It's somewhere. I know one winter I was really bored, and I kept all my cassettes and stuff that I made. Like, I still have all my lyrics from when I was like 15, 14. Stuff on the back of Subway closing sheets, lyrics that I wrote when I worked at Subway. And so I kept all those. And one year I was really bored, so I went through all my cassette tapes and categorized like everything. Like, listened to the whole tape, as nauseating as it was. I'd listen to the whole tape, and then I'd be like, okay, here's this song, And so I knew exactly where I was. So when this situation came up, I could be like, yeah, it's on this cassette tape, side B, right here. I got a bunch of Commonplace cassette tapes and just all sorts of. Yeah, I keep stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It definitely is better than people have thrown stuff out and wished they would have kept it.
Well, that's our generation. You had to work harder for stuff. You know, it's like nowadays you can just sing a song on YouTube and, you know, or on Facebook Live or whatever, and everyone's going to say it's great because no one's afraid everyone's afraid of hurting someone's feelings, you know. So when I was a kid, no one gave a crap about your feelings. They'd tell you that sucks, you know. You played in a bar like when I was 20 and 21, and people would tell you suck, and you need that. I think you need that. Kind of builds your.
Been there.
Yeah, it thickens your skin up. You know, it's like these kids nowadays, then they didn't get that. They just think they're great because everyone said they're great, and sometimes you need to be told you're not so great, you know, and so you can get better. So if you're always being told you're great, you're not evolving. You just think you've achieved, I guess. That's just my word to the younger musicians. You use cassette tapes and then go into a rough bar and be told you suck. You'll get better from that.
Welcome back to Core on WCZR Code Zero Radio. We've got Kurt Gunn in the studio, and he's going to play us a song live. This is Way Deep Down There.
Wake up in the morning, the day before you die. Everybody knows your time is nigh. Sleeping in the evening, one more before your ride. What you gonna dream about tonight? You're gonna dream in color, your dream in color, your dream is painted red. Dream in color, my baby lover, tomorrow you'll be dead. Long white corridor, 30 paces now to go. A dead man walking down real slow. And nobody talking here above you or below. Just waiting on the lights to flicker, waiting on the lights to blow. They gonna roll on one, roll on two, they gonna roll them all on you. Roll on one, roll on two, they gonna roll on till you're through. 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 What's your last wishes? Any words before you go? One more doorway left to walk through. Make your peace, God have mercy on your soul. And may you find him there to greet you. And if he's not there, you know then where you are. And if he's not there, you know he's not there when fire's near and far. And when you're down there, way deep down there, with sorrow in your heart. But when you're down there, forever down there, you know then where you are.
All right, that was Kurt Gunn. Kurt, thanks for joining us.
You bet.
You've been listening to Core on WCZR Code Zero Radio.